Morning Spurs fans, Paul Hotspur Hippie here. And just like Tottenham's search for a central defender, my rod is doing nothing at the moment. Nothing in the news, so I thought I'd just have a general waffle about the state of football. Have we reached the bottom yet? What I mean by that is, when I used to go and watch football when I was a kid in the 80s, there was a lot more skin in the game. The pitches were tougher, the men were tougher, referees used to let things go, and it was much more, in my mind, a meaningful contest. Over the years, especially since Premier League reinvented football in 1992, it's just become more and more sedate, more sanitised. At the top leagues, they're playing on a billiard table every week. All the players look like male models. They don't look like Graham Roberts, do they? Or Paul Miller. No. They all spend all their times in the salons so they can get nice and pretty for their Instagram promotion opportunities. I just think sometimes, when is enough money enough for these guys, you know? And the reason I think this has all happened, because it's gone under the guise of tidying the game up or cleaning the game up. What about the kids, they always say? What about the kids? Well, I was a kid and I used to go to football and I loved it. I loved all the swearing and stuff. There were little kids right down the front of the shelf. They didn't seem to mind. I'm sure they didn't all grow up to be, bank robbers, vandals. Look at me, I grew up to be a hippie. So it didn't do me too much harm in the long run. And what I think's happened is that, especially since Sky Sports have got involved and they want to get as much money out of the game as possible, they came in at a time when England was kind of riding a little bit of a little boom after the 1990 World Cup and the 1991 FA Cup final, of course, don't forget that one. But they always want more money. And so you've got to take a product, football, and just make it appeal to as many people as possible. But unfortunately, when you do that, you kind of lose the hearts and minds of the people that really cared about the game when it was a true contest. Now, having said all this, look, when the whistle goes, some form of football is better than no football. So I'm not all woe is me about this, and I still do love watching the game. Well, I love watching Tottenham play. I love watching the World Cup play. But I don't really watch any other games now. I don't watch even any other highlights. So that's why my knowledge of football, hello plane, my knowledge of football is pretty scant when it comes to outside of Tottenham. So they make excuses. They'll say, oh, we need to tidy the game up. What about the children? How many times have I heard this argument about anything in life? We need to tidy up for the children. And really what you're doing is you're tidying it up for the money. Guy walked past with a dog. Hope that edit was smooth as butter. Tidying it up for the money. Because somehow people with money don't like that sort of thing. I don't know, maybe posh people get a bit soft or something like that. But we're all human, aren't we? So I think money has actually changed the nature of people, where you just become this bland, beige organism. You don't want to stick your head up above the parapet. You don't want to be different. Because I remember football crowds, it was all walks of life. Very varied, and I'm sure now it's becoming more and more homogenous. And the thing is, why I'm saying as football got to the bottom, is that kind of fandom, I don't believe is, in the long term, on a generational scale, as fervent as when I was younger. Are these landed gentry, these new money people, are they going to pass the love of the game on to their kids? Or will there be another new thing for people to want to be seen at on their Facebook posts? And the massive herd, the exodus of the cash will begin, and maybe the soul of football, which is still there, will be allowed to flourish again. The other thing that it's done in the chase of money is it's let gambling run riot everywhere. So when they say, what about the children? Well, I say, what about the gambling adverts? It's taking authorities so long to suggest perhaps that it's not the best thing to advertise a gambling company on a kid's football jersey. Same thing's happening in Australia. They've been getting away for years over here, so much so that gambling odds are actually part of the sports coverage itself. Everyone's taking their quid. Everyone's taking a slice of the case out of football, out of the people's game, out of our game. Journalism has got a lot to answer for, whipping all this up on social media. There's nothing happening at the moment, but there's always a story. Agents in football. I saw an agent today claim for Victor Bork, is it? Might have got his name wrong there. He claimed that before moving to Barcelona, other clubs, including Tottenham Hotspur, put a bid in for 100 million euros. Now you know and I know that that is absolute bollocks, that there's no way Spurs would have put a bid in like that. But somehow these agents, these non-football people, agents, directors of football, technical directors, people that have never played the game, they're having so much say and influence in how the sport should be run. And I'm kind of hoping that things will change. Things will change. I'm always hopeful. As I say, when the whistle goes, all of this noise that I'm talking about now, it becomes irrelevant, because I just like to sit down and enjoy a nice game of football, lie on the couch, chill out, don't worry about what's going on in the week. And as the money leaves and normalises it, maybe it'll come good. Maybe European leagues having a tough time will benefit football as a whole. I'm sorry to see that they are. I prefer a level playing field as much as possible. That gives you the best competition. Absolutely, every time the best competition. But while all the billions of dollars are in the Premier League, especially with a few clubs at the top, you're not going to get that competition. That might be another reason that football starts to lose its allure to the hoi polloi, all the toffs and posh people. And hopefully they'll go and find something else to spend their money on, because it sure as hell won't be charity or poor people, that's for sure. It'll just be the next big thing where they can see others there and they can be seen to be there and give this pretense that they have some sort of fire and passion in the belly, instead of just being very, very comfortable. So I'm hopeful it's going to change for the better, but what do I know, man? What do I know? I'm hopeful that we'll get a central defender by Friday, which time's running out, so I think we're going to see the same old lot getting on that plane. But I'm okay with that, you know. I'm okay. I'm still very thankful that we've got Ange Postecoglou in charge. He's a real football man who came up through a very hard and tough and passionate era of football. Even though it was in Australia, those games in the National Soccer League actually meant a lot to the fans and the players. They were playing for something bigger than the game in a lot of the cases. That's been sanitised over here as well, unfortunately. Hopefully that will change. So what do you think? Am I just cranky old man? You know, that's what happens when you get old, isn't it? You get cranky. I'd take the point of view though that old people when I was young were cranky because they'd say you've never had it so good, whereas I'm cranky and old because I'm saying it's really, really shit right now. That's my point of view. I feel sorry for the younger generation, you know. I really do. Growing up in this beige crap, apps for everything, gambling everywhere. They're probably going to be hooked on gambling by the time they're 18 or 16, let alone 18. So this is what happens. This is how my mind works a little bit when there's nothing happening in the football world. In the Tottenham, in the Spurs sphere. Sitting here having a nice fish, and I'm just, you know, I'm thinking and hoping that things might get better. And you know what? As long as people think that and hope that, I think there's a chance they will. Anyway, I'm going to get back to my rod, which isn't moving at all. I hope you're having a lovely day out there, people, and come on you Spurs.